In the brutal arithmetic of World War II, the Battle of Cape Matapan makes absolutely no sense. On one side, the Royal Navy. On the other side, the mighty Italian battle fleet. When the smoke cleared over the Mediterranean, 5 Italian warships were sitting at the bottom of the ocean, and 2,303 Italian sailors were dead. The British losses? 3 men. It was the most one-sided naval massacre in modern history. But the most shocking part of this battle wasn't the guns or the ships. It was the fact that this entire ambush was orchestrated by a 19-year-old college dropout sitting in a freezing, converted horse stable 2,000 miles away. This is the story of Mavis Batey, the unbreakable Italian Naval Enigma, and how one lazy radio operator's typo changed the course of World War II. By March 1941, Britain was bleeding to death in the Mediterranean. Mussolini's fleet was hunting down British supply convoys heading to Egypt. If the convoys didn't get through, North Africa would fall to the Axis. The Royal Navy was sailing blind because the Italian Naval Enigma machine was considered mathematically impossible to crack. With 3 rotating wheels and a plugboard swapping letters, the machine had 159 quintillion possible combinations. The encrypted messages intercepted by the British looked like random, meaningless gibberish. The elite mathematicians at Bletchley Park had officially given up, ordering all resources to be diverted to German codes instead. But in a freezing outbuilding called the Cottage, a legendary, eccentric cryptographer named Dilly Knox ignored those orders. He had recruited a 19-year-old girl named Mavis Batey. Mavis didn't have a PhD in mathematics. She was a university dropout who studied German, but she possessed a terrifying, almost superhuman gift for pattern recognition. Knox taught her a core truth about war. Math will tell you what is possible, but human laziness will tell you what actually happens. For Mavis, breaking this code wasn't just about patriotism, it was deeply personal. Her 23-year-old brother Geoffrey was serving on a British cruiser in the Mediterranean. His letters home were getting darker. He admitted they were terrified, sailing blindly through waters infested with Italian battleships. In just a few days, on March 30th, Geoffrey was scheduled to sail with a massive, high-value supply convoy. If Italian intelligence found out, they would send their entire fleet to sink it. Mavis knew that every encrypted message she failed to read could be the order that killed her brother. Then, on March 25th, an Italian radio operator made a fatal mistake. At 9:23 a.m., Mavis was staring at yet another block of unbreakable Italian code. But after 36 minutes of intense focus, her eyes caught an anomaly. At character position 47, she saw a string of 6 letters, S, Q, P, P, B, N. At character position 87, she saw it again, S, Q, P, P, B, N. Her heart stopped. The Enigma machine was designed so that a rotor clicked forward with every single keystroke. It was mathematically impossible for the machine to encrypt the same word into the exact same ciphertext twice in one message. Unless the operator typed the exact same word at the exact moment the rotors happened to cycle back to an identical alignment. The odds were billions to 1. Mavis realized she was looking at a human system error. Italian operators often used meaningless filler words to pad out short messages to confuse codebreakers. Their favorite filler word was PERX. Mavis hypothesized that a lazy operator had simply typed PERX twice. She now had the ciphertext SQPPBN and the suspected plaintext PERX. Instead of trying to guess the machine's 159 quintillion settings, she used the known word to reverse engineer the rotors. After 9 grueling hours of manual calculations, skipping meals and working until her hands cramped, she cracked it. They fed the settings into a captured Enigma machine, and out popped clean, perfect Italian. The message was a bombshell. It was an order from the Italian High Command. They were sending their most powerful fleet, 3 heavy cruisers, 2 destroyers, and a massive battleship to ambush British convoys on March 27th. They were going to sink Geoffrey's convoy. But because of Mavis, British Admiral Sir Andrew Cunningham now had the entire Italian playbook. He knew their route, their speed, and their exact timing. He decided to set the ultimate trap. To trick Italian spies into thinking the British were unaware, Cunningham spent the afternoon playing golf in Alexandria, making sure he was seen relaxing. But as soon as the sun went down, he slipped aboard his flagship, the HMS Warspite, and sailed the entire Mediterranean fleet into the darkness. On the night of March 28th, the Italian fleet was sailing south of Crete. They had no radar. They thought they were the hunters, prowling through the pitch-black ocean looking for defenseless British cargo ships. They had no idea that Cunningham's fleet had quietly slipped directly into their path. At 10:28 p.m., the British battleships had closed to just 3,800 yards from the Italian heavy cruisers. In naval combat, this is point-blank range. Missing was physically impossible. The Italian sailors stared out into the dark, seeing nothing but the stars. Then, Cunningham gave the order. Massive naval searchlights on the British ships snapped on simultaneously. Blinding pillars of white light pinned the Italian cruisers against the black water. The Italian sailors were instantly blinded, frozen in terror. They had 3 seconds to realize they had sailed directly into a wall of 15-inch battleship guns. Then, the British fired. The heavy cruiser Fiume was hit by 1,900-pound armor-piercing shells traveling at 2,300 feet per second. The ship's internal structure instantly disintegrated, and she sank in minutes. The cruiser Zara took 4 direct hits. Her boiler room exploded, instantly killing 140 men in superheated steam. It wasn't a battle, it was an execution. In the chaos, the Italian fleet was shattered. 5 warships were sent to the bottom. 2,303 Italian sailors burned, drowned, or were blown apart in the dark. Back in England, Mavis Batey kept working. Thanks to her breakthrough, Bletchley Park could read Italian Naval Enigma for the rest of the war. A few weeks later, Mavis received a letter from her brother Geoffrey. He wrote that his convoy run had been the smoothest mission he'd flown in 18 months. He said it felt like somebody was looking out for them. Because of the Official Secrets Act, Mavis couldn't say a word. She couldn't tell her brother that she was the one who cleared the ocean for him. She married a fellow codebreaker, had 3 children, and lived a quiet life as a garden historian. It wasn't until decades later, when the records were declassified, that the world finally learned what she had done. The Battle of Cape Matapan proves a terrifying reality about warfare and intelligence. You can build the most mathematically perfect billion-dollar encryption machine in human history, but all it takes to bring down an entire naval fleet is one lazy operator typing the same word twice, and one brilliant 19-year-old girl paying enough attention to notice. If the incredible story of Mavis Batey and the Enigma typo changed how you view the history of World War II, hit that like button. It tells the algorithm that the unsung heroes of history deserve to be remembered. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our deep dives into the archives.